Okay, welcome to Cello Circle. Hi, everybody. Today we have Garth Cummings. Garth is a former Apple guy turned cellist full time. So maybe, Garth, we had just talked about this a little bit, but could you go into your schooling and how you got to where you are now?
Okay, sure. So just so you know, I'm in San Jose right now, San Jose, California. And I started cello when I was 9, going through the school music program. I always knew I wanted to play something. It was my mother's idea to try cello. So in fact, when I was even younger, my favorite toy was little toy pianos that I would get for Christmas. And then by the time the next Christmas rolled around, the notes would all be broken and I'd have to get another one. So it was great to get to the point where I could actually start an instrument seriously. And I got off to a good start. You know, I got a scholarship for private lessons. But also the same year, right after I got started, I got knocked down in a playground accident and broke my right elbow.
Oh,
And that never healed exactly right. And it led to all kinds of odd compensations in the right side of my body, especially tension in the shoulder.
wow.
So you can say my cellistic quest since then has been to figure out how to deal with that and how to get rid of it. Because there's no pain and there's nothing like that. It's just habitually learned some wrong things and could really get rid of them very well. So I got to the point where I still managed to get degrees in music and cello and music theory. I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison for graduate school, where Martha and I were there at the same time. And
Who were you studying with then?
there's Lowell Kreitz, who was
That's right.
the former cellist of the Pro Artie Quartet, which is based at Madison. So I did some teaching then too, and in fact, one of my students back then has gone on to be the cello professor at Lawrence University Conservatory in Appleton, Wisconsin. So Matt Turner. So we follow each other on Facebook now.
Wasn't Matt? Didn't he used to be here in Michigan?
I don't
Is that
know
the
if he
same
was.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out if that's the same Matt.
Okay, yeah, but he's at Lawrence now.
Awesome.
So after that, that's when I started going into programming full time, because my skills were just not quite up to the level of getting a full time music job. So I did get I worked on it, I started programming as a hobby in high school and used that to get work through school, through college, and put myself through school. And so it's just fairly easy to get a job out of school. And
That's so funny. What year was that? Because that's not so easy, right? To just get up and get a programming job. But you actually didn't have a degree in programming?
No,
Ah,
but I had experience. That would have been, oh wow, that would have been like 1982, 83, 84, in that area. Yeah. And I did that full time until 2 years ago when I finished my last job after 20 years at Apple, or 20, as a software engineer. And so, okay, now I want to teach. And the reason I wanted to is because the inspiration from Ronnie Sharp. I can get into a little bit of how we met. I was getting ready to put together a recital that was pretty challenging. I was thinking, it's one of those points in my life where saying, okay, I'm not getting any younger, let's do this thing. But I was thinking, well, if we're going to do something this different, maybe I ought to find some help. And I had heard of Rennie, but never met anything like that, and just happened to come across her seminar on a website. And so I signed up for that, and we spent a week going through master class format and the technical discussions and so on. And I managed to screw up the courage to ask her if I could study with her. And to my amazement, she said yes. And so that was 2005, and I kept studying with her right up until everything shut down for the pandemic. So we've been together about 15 years.
Oh, that's a long time. That's great.
Yeah, yep. So she's the one teacher that managed to figure out a lot of ways to get my arms to work better, because a lot of her teaching, she bounced ideas off her Alexander teacher. So there was a lot of influence of understanding how the body actually works that goes into her pedagogy.
Oh, I didn't realize she was very Alexander influenced. That's cool to know.
Yeah, she worked with the same teacher for over 30 years. In fact, I've been working with him too. So it's been a real eye-opener for me.
So do you talk to your Alexander teacher about cello as well?
Yeah, in fact, I bring my cello to every other lesson. And we basically have post issues to them, and we sit down and figure out how to work them through. Sometimes quickly, and sometimes it's something that takes months and months to sort through.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but today we start by talking about Ronnie's left hand technique.
Yes, let's do this.
So, one thing she says a lot is you have to be lazy to play the cello. The least effort possible. So, as I said, her pedagogy is influenced largely by all of her many years with Margaret Roll, but also the Alexander technique. And to start off with the left hand, the role of the left hand fingers, basically, as she'll say, is to shorten the length in the string. It's to basically to measure a pitch on the fingerboard. That's all it's for. So there's no need to press the string to the fingerboard either. It's what she'll tell you. And in fact, if you think about it, if you look at the erhu, the Chinese instrument, it has no fingerboard. And people play that with the same level of virtuosity as we play our violin family instruments. So you can look at that and say, oh, okay, so maybe there is another way. So what you would say is instead is to cling to the inside of the string with the pad of the finger and pull to the left. And I can show you one of the demos that she does to demonstrate how this can work. So what I've got here is a regular, ordinary coat hook, or a rope hook, they call it if you go into the hardware store. So it's got a little knob on the end, and I hook on the inside of the string and pull left. And you can hear the sound ringing pretty well. And
that really is ringing.
Yeah, so it's just sitting there.
I'm like getting uncomfortably close to my camera, just trying to see.
Yeah. So you can see. Yeah, so it's just on the inside. Oops, on the inside. Yeah. So you can get one of these, for like $3-4 at the hardware store and try it out yourself. It's called a rope hook. And that is
great.
So the idea then is, take that idea and apply it to your own body. So you start with a hook, which is just that first joint right there at the end of the finger. Put it on the inside of the string, and the fleshy part of the finger on the inside of the string actually. And you don't want too tight a hook. If you do too much, it doesn't work. But if you see, because you'll not be on the fleshy part of the finger, so you don't know if you're watching yourself or watching somebody else do it. You want to see the fingernails
So you feel like you're hooking the inside of the string, but you're not in this shape. You're just using the pad, but you're hooking the inside.
Well, there is a bit of the hook shape to it.
Okay.
So there is a bend here. It's not. Yeah, it's not straight, but it's not really bent either.
Because I would be tempted to do this, but you're not talking about that. You're talking about this, and then hooking the inside like that, basically. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh
yeah. So when you have it right, you'll get a sense of the flesh of the finger feeling sticky, or like a suction against the string, or a magnetic sensation, like it's attracted to the string. So that also means that you're not anywhere tight beyond this. The only muscle that's engaged is the one that engages that first knuckle, and everything else up through the shoulder blade is pretty much free. So I'll catch myself tightening in the elbow sometimes, and I'm thinking, oh, I've got a good cling, and I think, oh no, because I'm blocking that at that point.
I think that you're probably going to talk about this, but so tell me if you'd rather talk about this later. But so when you approach the string, was it you that was talking about putting the phone to your ear?
Oh, that was Avi. Yeah, Avi did that.
Oh yeah, so Avi was talking about
that. That was really clever.
So instead of bringing it out, like, well, there are two ways to put it. You could put it forward or out. It's not like you're going to put it anywhere else. It's not going to go up. So I think so many people put it out, but so you feel like the elbow's going forward as just a matter of fact, but you're not putting it forward, right? It's just it happens to be there. Was that how you would describe your arm?
Yeah, I am going to get into that.
Okay.
So, back to the cling, the other thing is that the knuckles are released at the base of the fingers. So, it's a little hard to see, but you can, maybe on the demo view, you can see that this is pretty flat right there. So, so the idea is that you're basically letting the elbow go to the floor, and it's almost like it's like the whole arm is pulling down, and then you can also engage to the back if you need to get it even a little more, but that's all you need, and it works on every finger. So the idea is that there's no pushing involved here at all. And the one advantage you can get from this approach is that a lot of times teachers wondering what to do with students that have hyperflexible joints. I mean, that comes up as a frequent point of conversation. And if you're pulling, it's very hard to get the joint to buckle. If you're pushing, it's easy. But if you're pulling, it's hard for that to happen.
Right.
So that often just resolves itself using this pedagogy. So if someone insists on pushing, because pushing is a habitual thing, because we push things all the time. We push buttons, and that's our default mode of operation. What Ronnie would ask you to do is to think about not touching the fingerboard at all. So you're focusing on getting that sensation of the fleshy part of the finger against the string itself, and not going toward the fingerboard. So you say, don't go toward the cello, go to your left. And in fact, in her studio, she has a picture of Slava on the left wall. So you say, go pull toward Slava. Or if one of
the finger pulls towards Slava, right? So you're not going to use the arm to pull. You're going to use just the finger.
Well, it's more. This is where it gets. Ronnie doesn't. In general, she says things to get you to do the right thing, and that's one of her amazing abilities. And it's the ability to come up with a way of saying something that gets you to do something. Since I've had so many physical problems myself, I've had to dig into that a little bit more. And I don't think that you're actually, you're basically making this into a hook, so there's resistance there, but you're not pulling from there. The pull is just the gravity and your lower back. So there's
something that
if you don't have it, if you don't make the hook, if you don't have that a little bit of resistance there, and you pull, it just comes undone, right?
Right.
So
what I like about you're starting on B flat is actually because there's a little more resistance from the net. At first we started on B flat, there's all those ringing tones, which is nice, but that's really nice actually, because the feeling at B or D is very different from the feeling at B flat. Actually, I find that because I've been trying to do this for so long, it's easier to accomplish this right at the net, actually. So interesting. That's great.
So yeah, another way that I've discovered that it's good to feel this is if you go to a bigger string like the C string, you can feel it. Or sometimes even on the edge of the fingerboard, like right there. Just put the fleshy part of the finger there, and then just let the arm let go, and you start feeling that. If it's if you've got everything set up, just the hook and everything else is free.
And then you pull into your left leg. Is that it?
It's more the degree of feeling that magnetic or sticky feeling there. So it's really, you might exaggerate it early on to get a sense of it. And in fact, if you do, you can actually get the string to move a fair distance to the left.
Oh, and that's right. She tilts her cello, right?
And,
so you're
if you do too much, she'll say, you don't need to pull it that far. So that probably means you're using more finger and less just the weight of the arm and the shoulder, letting the elbow go to the floor. So you're essentially hanging there.
I remember Rainey wanting to turn the cello, but I find if I get any, so I've been doing this, let me ask you my question. So I have my cello here, so I could like push my cello, my leg is holding the cello, but Rainey wanted the cello this way, right? Am I right?
Yeah, just to make it easier to reach the A string, yeah.
So when I do that and then I pull on the C string, I feel like I'm gonna pull my cello away.
Yeah, I've had that happen too.
So where's the support for the cello then?
If it's turned right, basically pulling into the knee.
Oh, so it is.
Yeah, so the knee is bracing.
Oh, so my arm is all out.
If you don't have it turned far enough, it could slide out. Another one that I've had is if you pull too hard, you can actually pull the instrument out of the floor.
Right.
So that's another one. But neither of that is necessary to get the. That would be a case of she would say you're working too hard.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
So a good cling means you have a good resonance. So that's how you can check if it's working, is to see if you get a good ring from the notes. She'll often, especially with younger students, have you practice pizzicato and make sure you can hear the notes continuing one to the next. So if you don't have a good clean, you get a dead
Because I'm trying to get on that inside of the string. Oh! See, Garth, you're such a good teacher. So I finally got onto the fleshy part of my finger.
Uh-huh. So you're used to playing a little further.
You know, I wasn't convinced about the fleshy part of the finger until just now. It worked.
There you go. But, yeah, and you feel that, get used to feeling that sticky feeling there.
And I'm like there where normally I would be way.
Yes, yeah.
Is that, I can't even see it anymore, but.
Yeah, I can see what you're doing.
Does that seem
that's
right?
quite, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can see.
Here, I'm going to pin you. Get all our tech on. Oh, yeah. You're even farther down than I am. Whoa, it's crazy. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh. How am I doing that? I'm not pushing the string down.
But you're stopping the string.
Normally, doesn't that sound better though? So this is pushed all the way in vertically, and then I'm probably just not doing it right. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Of
and
course, what you're used to is going to sound better for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds even better now that I'm doing what you're saying, which is clang.
There you go.
Like.
So another thing about the resonance that Ronnie would talk about is if you don't hear the good clear resonance, check the clean first before our instinct is, if we're not getting a good sound, it must be something with the bow. But make sure you get a good clean first, and then you'll find actually is the bow has to work a lot less to get the sound as you want if the string is well stopped.
So is like the easiest way to check the clang is to pizzicato?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
So another thing she'll say is the left hand never plays softly. So its role is mostly to stop the string, make it longer and shorter. So if your tendency is to not cling as much, or if you're playing softly, especially with younger students, newer students, where they still haven't quite got the independence between the arms yet. When you play soft here, they might forget the cling here. So that's something to keep an eye and an ear out for.
Great.
So, since there's so much less effort involved with this, she says we can take advantage of economizing finger motion. So she teaches all fingers down, which is not something you see much these days. So if the fourth finger's down, 1, 2, 3 are down, and so on. If 2 is down, 1 is down, and so on. And it's definitely a trade-off because you're not. One reason you might want to just have one finger down is if you don't want to try to keep tension from creeping into the rest of the hand. But if you're doing something that doesn't create tension in the first place, then maybe you don't have to worry about it, and then you can focus on, okay, can I be lazy about playing the instrument and not move the finger? You move the fingers as little as possible. And where that comes in handy, as I'll talk about a little later, is double stops, because you have to have multiple fingers down for that to work. So another thing here is that the thumb can cling too.
I'm just processing what you just said. So when you put 4 fingers down, one of the things that got me about working when I worked with Rainey was the vibrato with
Yes.
all the fingers. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it now that I'm clinging right.
Ah, well, there you go.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna show you how it doesn't work.
if
And then
if the base joints are free, then you have the elasticity that's needed for the vibrato.
yeah, I was.
If you're grabbing, stiffening, then that won't work.
I was just gonna demonstrate to you how it wasn't working for me when I was with her, and now that I think I didn't understand the pads of the fingers and how to release. It's the release of those bass joints, because in order for you to have those down, all of these have to be in motion, don't they? That's so interesting.
So the thumb has a cling also, but the mechanics are slightly different. So where you put the thumb on the lower string, and you essentially hook with that side of the thumb, and then bring the thumb over to the upper string. So
Could you do that one more time? Could you say
okay.
start?
Okay, so hook the so it can.
Yeah, I've got it from the back
can
cam.
Yeah, so you hook on the inside just like you would any other finger, and then bring it down to catch the other string. And same thing, you get the same sticky feeling, the same magnetic feeling, and you're pulling to the left, you're not pushing down.
So you hook in, and how do you hook in the A string as well then?
Okay, that's not hooked so much, but it is, you get that, but you still get that sense of being sticky there, just by being somewhat free and being free in this joint.
That is incredible. What is that, Garth? What is happening to me? No, wait. There. I'm not pushing the string down.
Yeah.
What?
So you don't get the, before I started studying with Ronnie, it was like you get up into the upper thumb positions. It's like major effort to play anything. But when you figure out how you can do that without pushing the string all the way down, then all positions become equally easy.
What?
So how about that, huh?
I'm like one of those people that didn't believe in Jesus, and now I'm like, I believe. I was such a doubter, but I wanted to see, which is why you're here. But that's incredible. That's so cool. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so the next topic is we get some related left-hand things. One is that when she wants you to move hands or fingers to a new string, she wants to make sure you don't lift the fingers in the process, just slide them across. So that was one of the last things she taught me, because she just noticed that I was lifting and going down, lifting, going down. So no, you want to be lazy, so you just slide across.
Well, wait, do that again. Show the sliding.
So it's just kind of a rolling.
Oh yeah, I don't. That's. Does she talk about the way in which we release our finger? Yes.
Not really.
So, because I ask because, sometimes people all over. We'll talk about, if you want to articulate. I sound so much better now that I'm doing this, but did something go pluck off? But she doesn't do that, does she?
No. No, if you have a good cling, you have a good. When we talk more about the right hand stuff, the Velcro of the hair to the string, the string will speak pretty readily.
I mean, but listen to my sound, and then it just, you can hear it, right? I sound better. Rainy's way.
Ooh. Okay. The next thing I'm going to mention is extensions and upper positions. So one of the things she wants to make sure you don't do is reach for anything. So if you find you need to get more space between fingers, you already talked about having these knuckles here as flat. So even come down even further, so the knuckles are actually starting to bend backwards a little bit, and that spreads the fingers apart.
Yeah, it's like a violin thing too. When violins do their tense, they do this, like a backwards extension, kind of, because that's kind of what this is doing, is making it a backwards extension rather than.
Yeah, especially with the third finger. That was one of the habits she worked with me on for quite a while. Is your
hand rounded here in thumb position on third finger, or is it flat here?
It's not always perfectly flat, but as long as it doesn't get stiff there, and so a lot of people can't really get their knuckles quite that flat. Rennie says if you can, then you've got perfect cello hands. But not everybody can quite get that all the way flat. But the motion, that's the motion to get what you're.
So funny, because this is what Martha and I were talking about. That I talk about the strength inside the hand and these knuckles being it's exactly opposite of what Rainey is talking about. And Martha was like, that's the only thing that is interesting, is that this actually is not a signifier of that strength, that to do this. I think it's rolled over my dog. Sorry.
Oh, well, you didn't hit anything attached to the squeaker.
I think you didn't yelp, so I think we're fine.
No, I know.
You just moved.
So another metaphor that Rennie would use from time to time is the idea of a mountain climber. Or a rock climber, that they're climbing with the pads of their fingers and the fingers extended and free, so that you're suspending your weight from your fingers. And if you start tightening the fingers up, then you lose the grip and you.
Oh, right. They wouldn't climb like this. They climb. That is strong, isn't it? Oh. So even in thumb position, in the upper position, or like those middle positions, what about when you're? I feel like to do this, I have to obviously change my weight from 1 to 3, let's say. But to cling, if I were to play something really fast, maybe it's just because I'm not good at this yet, but I don't feel like I can engage the string quickly enough, but it's obviously possible, like you're saying with the Arhu.
Yeah, it is. It takes a little time to get used to getting that hook in the third finger up here, because a lot of times, if you're pushing, you tend to straighten that, so that third finger is really straight. But you still have to get a little bit of that hook in there for the cling to work.
Yeah.
So if it's 100% straight, it won't work. But if it just needs a little bit of that arch, so you can take that pull.
Yeah, that's gonna take a little a while for me to wrap my head around. Oh, it's because it's the whole pad of the finger thing. It's
Yeah.
you have to be on the pad of your finger up there. I've never done that before.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about this a little bit when I get to the shifting stuff about some of the exercises that you can use to just kind of get used to feeling that string all the way up and all the way back. The siren.
Okay.
The next thing I'm going to talk about is your pedagogy for playing fifths, which is a nice little trick to have in your bag. Because before I would brute force something and pray that I got it. But the idea there is you cling the lower note like you normally would. And then this is one exception to her rule, because then you do collapse that first joint. Then you can feel the pad of the finger under the lower string and the skin just inside that knuckle on the upper string. And you still pull both. And you don't have to, so it's not clamping the string to the down. It's still engaging the string.
So it's a lot like the thumb position then.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. That's very similar to that. So when I practice this, I'd actually do it quite deliberately, and and then play them separately, and then make sure I engage the lower string first, then collapse and bring it in, and then and then eventually it gets to the point where you can do it fairly quickly.
Yeah. My cello is ringing so much more than normal. Do you ever, sometimes when I've been experimenting with the stuff that Rainey's doing, sometimes, like in this situation right here, I feel like if the string is a clock face, and Rainey's talking about playing on 1 or 2 o'clock, 1:30 maybe. I feel like I'm even at like 11:30 or 11 o'clock on the string. Like I'm approaching it from this side as opposed from this side.
Mm-hmm.
You never talked about that, right?
No, and I seem to recall there was one of the teaching seminars that Avi and I were both at, where I think he or someone else in that group asked that question, and do you go from one side of the string or the other? And that was with the bow. That's right. That was different. That was with the bow. That you start bowing from the string or the other, and they said no.
Oh, I see. I'm pretty sure she would say that you still cling on the other side of the string.
Yeah, you still cling on. Yeah, you're still coming on the right side of the string, pulling left. So the other trick she taught me about playing fourths or fifths is when you're dealing with the fourth finger. And so you would essentially do a karate chop. So kind of a 30-degree angle to the fingerboard. So now, you have the weight of the hand is kind of going this way a little bit, but you're still able to cling and pull left.
Wait, are you not on the first joint of your finger?
No, I'm not at that point. Now I'm on the middle.
Oh, you're in the middle joint.
Yeah. It works either way.
What do you do with the other fingers? You just let them hang over like a bunch of octopus tentacles?
No, you put them together Like
Oh,
you're gonna
it's like a wall.
like a karate chop. You're gonna chop a rock in half.
Okay. Wait, let me make sure I'm understanding correctly. Right now, wait a minute. I'm right here and here. Like,
That's about where I end up.
yeah, I'm definitely on the middle joint of my finger. That's where you are. Both strings.
Yes.
I don't know if you can hear my daughter clomping around like an elephant. But you still feel the cling?
Yes. So this is just a...
And my sound just got better. Huh. That's hard. That hurts. I have no calluses there. I don't understand how this is useful in repertoire.
Oh.
There, fourth finger.
There are some spots like that. But I'm blanking on them right now.
You know, it's so funny. I was just creating a thing, and I played it my way, and I played it her way, and of course, her way sounds better. It doesn't just then, but that's gonna take some work. It's this dampening of the string. It all comes down to that. It's that we shouldn't be dampening the vibration of the string. I think that's the difference between Irene's pedagogy and the rest of us. Is that we want to stop the string. People say that all the time. Stop the string at D, or stop the string. She's not stopping the string. She's allowing it to vibrate under the finger, and that's what's so earth-shattering about that this even works.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's stopped enough. Otherwise, you wouldn't get a fundamental.
Right. I guess, yeah, but most people would like smush the string into the fingerboard.
But stop, yeah, you think of the word stop even, you know, it conjures up images of like you jam your brake pedal to the floor or something. We're gonna apply a lot of force here, so we're not gonna move.
Right.
Yeah, but this is more about can we.
Yeah, Libby's saying not a capo. Yeah, which is exactly.
Not a capo. Yeah, you make yourself a capo that way.
Yeah, but that's what we normally do is we make our fingers a capo and then we just like pow, and just squeeze, which of course lends itself to all of us have trouble with thumb tension or teaching less thumb tension, and it's because anything that pulls into something needs some kind of back pressure, but hers is pull it enough and it doesn't feel like there's. I'm a thumb squeezer, and so when I do it Rainey's way, I don't feel like I have any need to squeeze my thumb because there's a whole different mindset involved in it.
Yes.
And it's hard. The only way I can say it is it's very beautiful. It's very poetic, this approach to the cello. It's very respectful of the cello as the thing that's making the sound, you know?
Yeah, well, that's something she says quite frequently is ask your cello nicely. Don't say, I will do this, you know?
Yeah. She would say to me, why are you playing like this? She's a little more direct with me.
I've heard it more times. You're working too hard.
Yeah.
I've heard that so many times. Well, you want to dig into shifting?
Let's do it. Let's do shifting, and then maybe we can, I don't know if Libby and Chi want to weigh in or anything, but let's do it. Okay. And then see, you have shifting, double steps, children, about you have so much. Let's do it.
All right. So shifting. Well, Ronnie would tell me about that. Is the arm is for transportation, or the arm is what gets you there, or the arm knows what to do, and that gets back to the drawing of the the layout of the motor cortex, all the part of the motor cortex that's designed for moving the fingers, and the arm doesn't, you don't need much conscious control for that. So
Right.
it's more about training the hand, and when you want it to go somewhere, the arm just takes you there. So that's pretty much all it is. So she initiates the shift from the wrist, on the inside of the wrist, depending on which direction you're going. So either here or here. So that's the point. So you can think sometimes if you're working against gravity, you're having a string attached there that's pulling you back at that point.
I see. So you mean when you're going down, you feel this
that.
pulling, and when you're going up, you feel it pulling this way?
Yeah. But when you're ascending, she'll always say the note that's higher in pitch is lower in space. It's closer to the ground, so you have gravity in your favor. So that's something that definitely comes from Alexander technique. Is the idea that you let gravity do work when possible. So fingers stay on the inside of the track, on the inside of the string, and you just go from one place to another. It's pretty straightforward.
You know, it strikes me when you talk about this gravity is when we come back also, the way Rainey is doing everything is with the arm here at the side, then when you go up, yeah, gravity's work, but here gravity's working on you too, because when you let your arm fall with gravity, the hand is going to automatically come up. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true with the external rotation.
Yeah. Oh, it's very technically said. Good job. Yes, absolutely. Interesting.
So this is where I talk about the orientation of getting where the arm goes. She introduces through those early exercises, like the ski jumps, just sliding on the inside of the string and then pizzicato at the end. And then the knuckle knocks, so everything is free, including the wrist.
Now, with the knuckle knocks, the freedom, of course, in the shoulder, but in the wrist, right?
Yes.
And the ski jumps, then, that's the cling, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And then the siren also. So you're doing the. So you cling on the end.
As I go up higher, and I'm clinging here, I end up doing more of that coat hook shape with my finger the higher I get. There's something about the location of my finger here that doesn't lend itself to staying that way. Should I be? What I'm saying is, as I go higher, my finger, I'm going to exaggerate, but my finger is more of this shape. It's exaggerated. But when I go higher, it's harder to keep this shape. But I want to do more of this shape. Is that what she would?
Yeah, well, especially when you get the thumb on the fingerboard, you kind of have to. Hello, pup.
Yeah.
What do you see?
My dog is just waiting for food.
Oh,
so
that's his dog o'clock.
So would she have the finger point more at an angle? I feel like I could do this shape.
Well, it's more sideways. So not that, but more the sideways.
Oh,
or
could you slide up and down one more time, doing the. Oh. How much of the string are you, when you're up in the high position, what percentage of the string do you feel like is down? Like how much are you depressing the string?
Oh, not at all. It's going to the left.
You're not.
So.
You are totally inside the string.
Totally inside the string.
And you're not pulling the string.
I see air between my fingertips and the fingerboard if I look this way.
So you are not pulling the string though, so you're not changing the pitch. everything I know is falling apart. How does that sound good? Every time I've done that in the past with students, it always sounds better when I push than when I pull. But it sounds the same now. You can't tell the difference.
Well, there we go.
What?
So one of the things that she'll do is introduce 3-octave scales to students pretty early, in their first year actually, and not so that they would be perfect at it, but she wants to get them used to the idea that you can use the whole fingerboard and not get, people that start in the public school program and start studying privately later, they get so used to, they get so rooted in the first position that everything else seems scary. So Rennie really wants to avoid that. So there's a certain amount of shifting to get them going on, even in the first year, just enough to get through those scales. But when she gets to the point of, before I get to that, one of the exercises she'll do with the students is when they're in the process of shifting, if they like to pick up that first finger, because you're shifting, you're always going to have the first finger down, unless it's not being played on. So she'll get a piece of Kleenex out and just take.
Oh, you have one ready. Look at you, like a magician. That's what was in
Nothing
your
up my sleeve. And she'll put that under their finger. And say, okay, this is my very expensive piece of Kleenex. Don't you dare drop it. And if you let go, oh, there it goes. Oh, you dropped it. Oh no.
Right.
So.
So that's on the fingerboard. So your fingers contacting the fingerboard through the tissue, but separately on another spot, the fingers contacting the string. Is that right?
I mean, any contact with the fingerboard is incidental, just because the finger is a fairly thick thing.
Oh, is the tissue between the finger and the string then?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I misunderstood.
Yeah, slide under the string, and then the fact that you're just contacting it keeps it there. But if you lift the finger up, you'll just fall down.
Yeah.
You say, "Oh, you broke my Kleenex." So
that's great.
So the other thing with the shifting, the last thing is well, not the last thing, but when you're coming back, a lot of times people will do this kind of a thing, and so make sure that you do the that external rotation and get the elbow out in front.
I think the answering the phone thing is a really.
That was genius. I've never heard Rennie say that, so Avi might have come up with that himself.
Maybe he's putting words, but that is really good, because I think that tells you exactly where to put your hand and your arm in relation to each other. But that this, like, is reacting to gravity is it really. That this will cause the twisting because we're accommodating, because we're not letting gravity work on our body properly.
Yeah, it's kind of like what happens when people first learn that this is flexible too. They're not used to the idea the elbow is flexible, so you can actually close this up rather than try to keep this the same.
Yeah.
So to say that share an exercise that she uses when she's ready to teach shifting in detail. This is a little later on when she's into fourth position. So this is the
Oh, okay, we're about to see something. I'm excited.
Yeah, where did you go? So this is she calls this the most important page in the book. And this is the idea that you play a note, stop, get to the new note, play the note, stop. So on. And then the next page.
Is this from Foyard?
This is the 3-hour young cellist method, yes. This is the kind of like the third method book that she goes through. So here, this is the case of the disappearing note. So the finger on the old note, and then your goal is to go to 4.
Right.
So the intermediate note keeps getting shorter. And so on.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's about getting the timing between the right and left hand.
Right.
Because she never wants to hear a slide. So that's so let's see. Shifting to the thumb. So there's another one that she comes up with. So if you're doing something like that. So the idea is you put the thumb under the first finger and shift that way.
That is what pianists do, isn't it? I never thought of it that way.
It's reminiscent of that. You're not going underneath all the fingers like a pianist would, but you're going underneath, essentially kicking the first finger out of the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that works out really well. So some passages where if you look at the fingerings that she has on her website, a number of passages where other people would play across strings just to avoid that kind of a shift. She favored the musical color, the consistency of color on the A string, and so if you have that kind of a thing, a tool at your disposal, you can achieve it.
I think this is probably a good time to actually, if you don't mind, would this be a good time to show the website?
Sure.
Let's see. So this is Irene's website, which Garth and his wife are so generously helped with. So I love this whole thing with Margaret teaching, that she has this whole huge article about working with Margaret, which I love. This repertoire list is everything that she works on, apparently, from beginning to end, if you stick with her. This DVD is one of the best and most helpful and most intimidating things I've ever watched for pedagogy. She follows this girl through her lessons, and it's just amazing what this child does in a very short period of time. I'm pretty sure that this child is probably pretty quick even for one of Rainey's students, but it is truly remarkable. I think that every cello teacher should watch that video. So this, though, the scales and arpeggios, it's amazing what is in here. All of these fingerings and stuff that she does, but for me, I love this, that this is all of her concepts that she thinks about while she's playing the cello at any given moment in time, and it's all of these kind of what I would consider talking points for Rainey. That this is these words, what I try to do for myself, and then going to work with Rainey it really solidified it, that we just need, she would say one phrase over and over and over, just cling, 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 cling. And then when I get it, she'd be like, yes. And then when I wouldn't, she'd just cling, cling, just cling. Why aren't you clinging? What? Try clinging, just cling. And it's amazing that she wouldn't tell me really what it was. And but I would figure it out. It was really an interesting way to let the learner explore while giving them the smallest morsel of information. So I really love that.
Yeah, and she does not ever hesitate to repeat, and doesn't mind repeating the same thing week after week or month after month or year after year if necessary, as long as she sees that you're actually working at it. You know, you're trying to figure it out. You're you know, it's a different story if you go home and don't do anything. Say, I can tell you didn't practice this week. Blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah.
Garth, would this be okay time to have people come on for questions, or did you have other things that you wanted to make sure that you touched on before we stop today?
I've got three more things that we can just talk about real quick. I'll
Great.
just run real through.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, there it is. I see now.
Yeah, double stops. Again, since you're coming from the position of all fingers down, there's really no more effort in the left hand to play a double stop than there is a single note. The only difference is that the fingers are on different strings. So if you notices, she's done this with herself even. If you start finding yourself clamping up when you're trying to play a double stop in the left hand, is just finger the chord on one string and notice how that feels, and then just gradually move the fingers to the other strings and keep the same feeling. Don't let anything tighten up or help out or anything like that. Just keep the same cling. And
that's brilliant.
Yeah. Trills, very simple.
That's crazy.
Yep. So for trills, she just teaches you batting the string with the finger. So nothing.
So that's the only time she's having you listen.
Well, because you're playing two different notes, yeah. But the idea is you know, it's a reflex motion more than a deliberate placing and removing motion.
You know what is interesting? What just happened to me is that when I did the trill the way I normally do, in holding down the string and pushing the string down, and then trilling, and it took a lot more effort to trill with my second finger. And then when I actually remembered, oh, I need to clang, and I did the clang with a pat of my finger and got on the inside of the string and all of that stuff. And then all of a sudden, I needed much less effort to stop the string with my second finger, because I think because more of it's vibrating, actually. This is not how I normally sound.
So the last thing for today is the vibrato. And when asked when does she start people on vibrato, and she says, well, if you've got the good cling and the balanced hand, it almost does itself. So everything is free. And so then it's just adding a little bit of motion from the wrist. And that's all there is to it. And so she has students that are fairly young, again in their first year, able to do a good vibrato, just if they've got the rest of the precursor steps worked out up to that point. So
I've started one student since I worked with Ronnie, and I did the whole left arm all the way down, just relaxed it, everything. And, you know, French folk song, no problem, he's just vibrating. It's my nephew. I was like, oh, it's strong genes. But it's not it. It's that he has that tension in his hands.
Yep.
But I do teach fingertips, and I wonder, what your have you seen her teach kids? What is she? I went to radio on purpose in September so I could hear her start new students. So I wonder what if you've heard her talk to new students about. They weren't getting great sound. They had just been playing for a week or two, and she was saying all these things, just cling to the string. But does she just have that? Does she talk about where the fingers touch the string? Or she doesn't get into details, does she? She just says cling, and you.
Well,
part of your finger.
I think she'll demonstrate, and she'll come up and help someone who's young put their hand in the right place, and also again with somebody that young, work with the parent so that they can know what to look for when they're working together during the upcoming week. And she also videos all the lessons. She has the student bring their camera in and video all the lessons, so they have that to refer to. So she'll demonstrate it as well. So you have you have what she's shown you, what you've helped her help you with, what she said, and then her own presentation on the video to reinforce it all. So the opportunity is there.
Yeah. I think that now that I talk to you so much, and Avi, and I think that now when I go back and watch that DVD, it's going to mean a lot. It'll mean a lot more to me because I'll know. Because the first time I watched the DVD, I was actually a little intimidated, like I said, and then it didn't make sense to me because I didn't know what was happening. You can't really see what the contact is in the finger when it's done right or wrong. It's really hard to see the difference between this and the difference between that and this. I can see it now, but I didn't know.
You find yourself saying, "I want to zoom and enhance that frame there to see what she's actually doing."
Yeah. So I think it'll be nice to go back and do that. Let's I don't know, Christy and Chi, if you want to come on. This is being videoed, but if you'd rather ask your questions off video, just let me know. But you're welcome to come on and talk to Garth or whatever you'd like. Hi, Chi.
Hi, Garth. Hi, Andrea. Thank you for all the beautiful reminder of Ronnie's amazing teaching. I worked with her a lot on the ski jump because I was teaching young students about how to do ski jump. So maybe I could just add maybe a couple of things I learned from her and from my own experience. Because my background is Asian, I always kind of refer back to Chinese Kung Fu. So the string likes to be ring, it's going either this way or that way, especially when you bow it. So I'm very visual because I do design as well. I design Ronnie's studio. So I would like to demonstrate that I tell people the strings are like a beautiful girl you want to caress. You don't want to go like this and this. So the clinging is from the side and you pull versus kind of say, I love you, this way you go sideways. So when I was learning about ski jump, about going to a higher position, she reminded me that your hand turns a little bit this way. So there's a rotation from the first position to a higher position. So it's not just, you never fall back down this way. So just slightly like that. And then when you get to the high position, you just playing inside the strings. You don't have to push the strings down hardly. And when you come up here, keep the elbow in the same place so you don't pull your shoulder back. And then you become this rotation you're doing like a half moon circle back and forth. That's what I just want to learn, kind of add to about this, the light rotation of your hand when you go up to the higher position. You come back.
Could you explain that half moon rotation one more time?
You go if I go sideways, you go down here, then you come back this way.
I see.
On the same spot, therefore you don't pull back, try to play the first position.
Oh, that's right. That forces the elbow.
You keep your shoulders straight, basically. Sometimes she's very kind of strict, right? She comes to my back of my head, my shoulder blade, just push me forward to keep my shoulder blade straight. And do not shut up at lesson with your ponytail because she will pull it or whatever.
I don't have that problem.
She did actually
I
have
can't grow one.
oh my God! If somebody came from New York City, have a career there, and then she came out. I came to the lesson with a high pony. She yanked me out. She said, "Sit up straight." And I was kind of torquing. I play slightly this way. She said, and she always plays the piano over there. She said, "Chi, I cannot see your left shoulder. If you don't correct yourself, I'm going to come over and hit you." And she actually meant that, you know.
That's so
So
great.
keeping the shoulders straight while you shift is very important. That's what I learned from her. Yeah, that's
Hey,
it.
Christy, did you want to come on and ask Garth about that, about the left, the thumb position up high? Oh, you're
Still muted.
on mute.
I know,
Sorry.
everybody's favorite Zoom feature.
I just have a minute, but could you clarify the Kleenex exercise?
Yes.
And I just what I've experienced is sometimes when I'm trying to get the cling, that I end up getting this it's just even when it looks like they're doing it with their hand, but the string is moving away from the D string. So I'm missing something in the way I'm explaining it. So two questions.
What I suspect that is we had that, we were discussing, okay, where does that pull come from?
Right.
And if it's pulling from here, then
From the knuckle.
That's going to pull the string way forward or way
Right.
to the side more than you need. So the idea is you just want to hook that and let the
Right.
freedom of the arm bring the string, bring the contact against the string.
Right. Thank you.
So the Kleenex thing is for if someone picks up their finger and loses the cling while they're shifting. So that's what that's for. So if they're in the process of, so if you're shifting, you want to keep first finger down all the time.
Right.
And unless there's an open string involved or a thumb. And so that's just a visual indicator that, you've let go of the string and the gravity is taking your Kleenex to the floor. And you say, aha.
Okay.
That's what that,
Christy, I was just thinking about what you said, that for me, I was the same way. I was trying to do it Rainey's way, and I would pull the string. It's the only way I could get a good sound was to pull the string.
Right.
And that was before I was using the pad of my fingers, first of all.
Right.
And then, and now, today's the only day I've ever gotten the thumb position to sound good, is without pulling the string. And I think it's that idea also of what she was saying of, you have to caress the string and respect the string and, this kind of leave it alone. It's going to do, and there's a great deal of trust that goes into playing the cello this way, I think. And I think that
it's lovely. Yeah.
it is. Have you worked with her then?
I just a couple summers when I was, I don't know how long ago, 20 some years ago.
Yeah.
It was a couple summers, and I was having some tendonitis issues, and I heard, I don't know if she still teaches at Bowdoin, but that's where I went, and I stayed with her a couple summers. And it was transformational. It really was, but it's really helpful to revisit these, decades later. These ideas. It's still true. It's still good stuff. I feel like I need to
also, I don't
internalize
know
it
if
more.
you know, Christine, Garth's outline is on my website. So that whole everything, there's a new one. It's the one he made. He just sent me it today. So what we worked from today is the updated link on my website. Just so you know.
Thank you. And I need to zip, but thank you so much. This is
great. It's such a great conversation.
Pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
Andrea for having me on.
Yeah.
This was
all three of you. Thank you very much.
All right, bye, Libby.
Okay.
Nice to meet you too.
Chi, did you have anything to add, I feel like I've been asking questions this whole time. I have nothing more that I need. There's going to be more.
Well, I love it because I haven't been taking lessons with Granny for quite a while. Just really appreciate Garth, having this section. I feel like we're a brother and sister because we used to have back-to-back lessons.
Yes.
That's so sweet.
Yep.
Where are you located, Andrea?
I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
I'm really far away. I hope you're safe, by the way, Chi. I was talking to Garth about all those fires. You're
Yeah,
safe over there?
it's okay. I was about 20 minutes away from the last evacuation warning, so it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen to like around Palo Alto in this area. But I still got, the cellos and things lined up at the front door, a couple bags. I actually do have things in my car kind of ready to go if something does happen. But thankfully, I'm okay. Everybody seems okay. But I did have a lot of friends who had to evacuate, who live in the Santa Cruz
Yeah.
mountain areas.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of them. I
yeah,
had about 20 friends had to evacuate.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, one of my
So,
former Apple
I'm glad
colleagues
that
is living in Seattle right now, waiting to find out whether they can get into their house at all in the mountains. And they
yeah.
know that they know all the food in the refrigerator is just beyond belief in terms of just being ruined. And the water system has been destroyed, and their power lines have been destroyed, so they have to wait for all that to be
So
fixed.
the water is, of course, the water is contaminated. I didn't even think about that. That's awful.
Yeah, well, this is in the mountains, and so they found the easiest and least expensive way to run water line is actually use some of these plastic pipes that are on the above ground, and those all melted.
Melted, yeah.
Oh no, that's horrible.
Yep.
Oh geez. Oh, there's a lot of work to be done.
There
Yeah.
is.
Well, my heart goes out to all of you out there. I hope that neither of you have to do any of that evacuation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Garth, thank you so much. We're gonna have to continue this for the right arm.
I know. I look forward to it. Hopefully, I could join in the future. Usually, I teach at this hour, but once a month, I teach group class on the weekend. And then that following week, I do makeup lessons. Otherwise, I never catch up with the makeup lessons. So
Right.
today, I happen to be free, but hopefully, I could join in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would
I
be-
teach kind of unusual cello lessons. I combine art, design, and spirituality into cello lessons with everybody.
Wow.
So the stuff you see in the back, that's all students' art, and we also compose music.
Oh, that's
Uh-huh.
so great. Wow, that's so great. Maybe I should zoom into your lessons.
It'll be fun.
Well, Garth, thank you
Garth.
so much. Thank you. It's just been, I can't tell you what a treasure trove you are and how generous you're being with this. I just really
Yeah.
appreciate this so much.
Well, thank you. It's actually
love
helped
the
me a lot to
summer.
write it all down, so that it stays fresh in my mind too.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Okay,
Chi, nice
thank
to
you
meet
so
you.
much.
And
Okay.
Garth, thank
Good
you.
to see you again, Chi.
Thank you, Garth. Thank you, Andrea. This is awesome.
Okay,
Take care,
bye
Andrea.
everybody.